Hi, Kevin. So thank you for agreeing to do this interview. Just so people know, I've seen you in a couple of meetings on MeetRx, and you told your story in the daily meeting on MeetRx, and it was just so inspiring. I asked if you'd be okay to have a quick chat now. So here we go.
Absolutely.
Okay. So my first question is, what made you consider the carnivore diet?
So you said I could go as long as I want, right?
Oh, yeah. Go as long as you want.
So the too long didn't read version is I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis while on my honeymoon in Norway in May of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been dealing with, fluctuating levels of disability since then. And I've been trying all sorts of diets. I've been trying all sorts of crazy things. I was even vegan for 8 years. Like I was that low, okay? And so in the last year, I started introducing meat again. And then, my brother has been keto since he's a keto hipster. He was keto before keto was cool. And so he's always been suggesting, hey, man, there's lots of people with autoimmune disorders who've been having really good outlooks with, with going keto. And I was like, yeah, I was on that whole vegan train at that time. And so I was like, no, I'll make it work with the vegan thing. And silly me. And so then this last year, I was staying with some family because I had to crash land after the pandemic started. And my parents have a good source of a local rancher. And so my dad bought a quarter cow, a half a side of beef. And I got to eat lots of beef. And then I was eating, of course, making my own black bean stew and all these other things because I still consider myself vegan adjacent kind of thing. But then when I moved out to Glendale, Arizona, because I just needed to have that separation and, voyage to the wilderness kind of thing to focus on my new career. And so I was doing the ketovore kind of diet. And that was like basically steak and a big freaking salad every day. And then I went and I did a 4-day dry fast, 94 hours, no food, no water. And when I broke that fast over the course of another 4 days, I started with like bone broth and electrolytes, and I just went straight carnivore after that. And my brother, he's been carnivore now for like 10 months. And so he was a lot of the influence in that way, because I said, yeah, I was feeling better when I was doing keto, and now Simon is doing the carnivore, like, in for a penny, in for a pound, right?
So what were the symptoms that you were trying to alleviate, and how was carnivore alleviated it, or how was the old diet that you were trying? How did that fare? Or I'm assuming not so good because you changed to carnivore.
Right. So, I started the vegan thing with my wife. We're now separated for a number of years, but it was all vegan because my wife had done research and she found, vegan people on these boards are saying that when they went vegan, they got some remission of their symptoms. And really it was just like doing a whole food thing and not a junk food, processed food thing. Yeah, of course, you're going to have some sort of benefit out of that. But it was so carb heavy that it just continued to progress, worse and worse and worse over the years. And so the symptoms have been massive brain fog. I've had a goldfish memory. I would forget what I was doing while I was doing it. I would, when talking with my wife, I would say things and I would drift off and like walk away while we're having a conversation, like in the middle of the conversation. And so it's like really no big mystery why our marriage fell apart. But I did not have the attention span. I didn't have the memory. My mental acuity was just really shaky. My whole logical reasoning was just not there at all. And then I was weak on my left side because I had a TIA, the soft stroke thing, back when I first got diagnosed in 2011. And so I've been weaker on my left side. I've been numb on, in my hands and in my feet, my hand and my feet on that side, or hand and my foot. There we go, on my left side. And, I had to learn how to write with my right hand because I'm left-handed, but I couldn't feel or control my left hand for a number of years. And I had to relearn how to do all of that. And so, yeah, lots of symptoms.
And then, so you've been carnivore for a while now. Have you seen any resolution of those symptoms?
I have. So May 26th was when I started breaking the fast and starting the whole pure carnivore thing. And my energy, my, heat fatigue has always been a thing. Like if it got above, 95 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm not certain what that is in Celsius, but when it got above that, then my legs would turn into like floppy noodles and just not be working at all. And I would have to take the electric scooter when going into a Walmart or a Costco or any big box store. And I had to walk with a cane all the time. And since then, I've been able to walk around the block and in the neighborhood here a few times a day, even when it's getting like 112, 118 degrees, because it's now I'm in Glendale, Arizona, and I've still been able to do that. I've still been able to maintain my daily exercise. I wake up naturally. It's like, I wake up at 4:30, and I've been trying on, working on that for a while. But now at this point, I wake up like 2 minutes, 5 minutes before my alarm goes off. My eyes open, I sit up in bed, and I'm ready to go. I'm not just like getting ready to hit the snooze all the time and just letting the clock run out. So my equilibrium is better. I can actually stand on my left foot, which I've not been able to do for over a decade. I was bending down to pick something up, and I was like, all my weight was on my left foot. And I took a moment to realize, said, wait a second, I'm not jerking around trying to maintain balance. And so I just lifted my right foot off the ground, and I started counting, and I was able to, stay balanced calmly on my left foot for, I say 30 seconds. It was 28 seconds, but who's counting, right? And when I walk, I don't walk like the Captain Jack Sparrow walk, where I've got the ataxic gait where I look like I'm kind of drunk or on drugs or something. And for years, even when I was having good days and I wasn't needing the cane, I would carry the cane because it was kind of that excuse, because people would look at me and say, dude, you are messed up, man. What are you on? But if I had my cane, well, then people know, oh, he's got something going on. Right. Therefore he walks kind of funny. And
okay. Yeah. And also you were talking about in the meeting, you were talking about how the medical profession were viewing it. And I'm just interested in that view, because a few of the people that have approached me, have been told there's absolutely nothing they can do about MS. It's just going to be chronic and progressive. So I just really wanted firsthand what your experience was.
Yeah. So when I received my diagnosis in May 28th of 2011, remember that day well, the doctors told me, we've got good news and we've got bad news. The good news is you're not going to die from multiple sclerosis. The bad news is you will die with multiple sclerosis. And my wife was saying, well, isn't there anything we can do, like nutritional exercise, any, certain supplement, anything? And the doctor said, there is nothing you can do. Go home and be there for him, because he's going to need a lot of help.
Wow.
And that was all, that's what they said. My wife was like, well, fuck this. You know, she was like, absolutely no. And that's when she did the research and, you know, got on the whole vegan train. But
so you saw some improvements with vegan, but did it seem to sort of tail off or?
Yeah. So like, let's say that I was down here at rock bottom. Like I got up to about here and then it just kind of leveled off, and then it would just go and fluctuate up and down at this low level here. It would never get progressively better. And then sometimes would just go worse for extended, protracted periods, you know.
And how does it look on Carnivore if you're using your hand across the screen there?
Okay, so here on yes, it's a very scientific model we're doing here. So with Carnivore, I would say that about a week and a half into it, I was up to about here. And then I've done this kind of thing, and I've been going, still good days and bad days, or better days and worse days, but I have been progressing upwards ever since. And so like last week I was, you know, I flew into Texas because I was doing some business meetings. And, you know, traveling on a plane is not something I've been able to do alone since May of 2011. And so I was able to go by myself and not have to have an assistant bring a chair and stuff to go and walk me to the plane and make sure I got to my flight on time and all that. I was able to stand and deliver a speech, you know, because it was in San Antonio, and then that night drove to Austin, Texas, and then next day went and had a full day presenting in Austin. So I was able to do that, and at the end there, yeah, I got a little weak-legged. I got a little fatigued. I got, you know, so it's not like a miracle cure. Everything is cured and done now. But if the me of today told the me of 2011 what my life was like and what my experience was, the me of 2011 would curse me for being such an evil asshole to tell such a cruel joke.
But I think things are looking so good now, aren't they? I mean,
they are.
I noticed you were exercising with a kettlebell. I mean, is that something you thought you'd ever do?
Yeah. So I do some form of exercise almost on the daily. I would say on the daily, but you know, nobody's perfect, right? But before going Carnivore, it was like maybe 2 or 3 times a week I would wake up and be able to do some sort of exercise. Since going Carnivore, my chin-ups have increased, my push-ups have increased, the weight on my kettlebell has increased. So I work with a 50-pound kettlebell while doing Bulgarian squats, you know, just on one-legged squats. And that's just to go and build up the strength in my legs again, because I've got so much muscle loss wasting from the last decade. So
are you seeing muscle return then? You're actually seeing that physically?
I am. And I am now up to 160 pounds. Again, I don't know the kilograms on that, but so just to set it in context, I am 6'4", and I have been trying really hard to break and sustain 160 pounds. My goal is to be at like 185, 190, just because I'm 6'4", you know?
Yes.
Dr. Sean Baker, he's what, an inch shorter than me, and he outweighs me by like a time and a half. So, and so like I've been working on building up the muscle again, and I'm finally able to go and start packing on the weight, because I had been stuck at like 149 to 155 for years. And just this last week, I broke through and have been solid for a week now at 160. So
brilliant. Kevin, so that's brilliant. I mean, I could talk all night about this. It's very inspirational, but have you got any final thoughts or anything you'd like to say to anyone watching who maybe is worried about trying this, and you know they've got MS and they don't believe it could make a difference?
If you have MS, then I imagine if you're anything like me, you've been trying a bunch of different things. I've tried a lot of things, many of which I don't even want to talk about, and I'm a little embarrassed about. But most recently, something that I feel is worth looking into, aside from just the carnivore aspect, is this Dr. Alan McDonald in Denver, Colorado, at the there's an MS brain bank there where MS patients have donated their brain and spinal cords to this brain bank so that medical professionals could do research on their bodies and say, hey, find what you can, make it better. And he did a series of experiments and biopsies back in 2016, I believe. And he proved conclusively that 10 out of 10 MS patients have parasitic infections. And the ones in particular that he found was a type of nematode that is in the brain matter of MS patients. That nematodes have broken through the blood-brain barrier. And nematodes are symbiotic with the Borrelia bacteria, which is Lyme disease. And that's something that I found when I was searching way back, was like, oh, some people say it's not, MS is just Lyme disease. And so they would go on a Lyme disease protocol and they would feel better for a little bit until it came back and they didn't feel better anymore. And so that's why I went into that dry fast, is I was also doing an parasitic treatment through all of that. And I attribute that along with being carnivore and having the zero carb, because now I'm not feeding the systemic nematodiasis, for the fancy word. And I'm also not feeding the systemic fungal infection. My toenails, because I have like the big fungal toenails and stuff, my athlete's foot, all of that is clearing up. My toenails are growing in clear. And it's just like cutting out the carbs and just going with the whole animal-based food is just, it's one of those things. I can't say that it will cure everything, but what have you to lose? Yeah. I've only had positive benefit. And then there's other on MeatRx that had similar things. So that's what I would say too.
Well, just as an aside, I rarely mention this because it seems so insignificant, but I had athletes for since I was 14, since I've been in the gym, and it was only in the last 2 years and going carnivore. And I mean, I'm 57, so that's many, many years of athlete's foot. And I tried loads of creams and solutions and duct tape and everything. And it just went. As soon as I was carnivore, it just completely cleared up. So I think, there's a lot to do with nutrition there and fungal infections, definitely. But anyway, Kevin, that is brilliant. That's really good. And that extra bit at the end, I think, will be fascinating for anyone that's got MS and is looking into it. So I appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. And I have gotten a YouTube channel. I have not yet uploaded any of my own content, but it is with the intent of being kind of a journal, just saying, hey, I'm going through this process. I'm busy at work. I am not going to do video editing. I'm not going to do fancy effects. I'm going to just record and say, hey, this is where I'm at and this is what's going on in my life. But the handle or the name of the channel is Zero Carb Zen. Just excellent. And that just alludes to like the mental stillness and clarity that I have had since going carnivore.
Okay. Well, if you just email me the link and I'll put that in the description of this video. So Kevin, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Excellent.